What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we're me going over everything new that happened today in Destiny. Quite a lot of changes and new things to be aware of, and I'll be telling you everything you need to know about the new patch and what's in it, how to complete the Aksis challenge mode, and I'll also be going through the new Iron Banner awards for this week and what to look out for as you play, because there are some incredible weapons up for grabs you definitely don't want to miss out. So firstly, let's go over the latest patch update that hit Destiny today, which is 2.4.1.1. So they called this a quality of life update that added some changes I've talked about in previous videos. So firstly, they fixed an issue where the taken Archon Priest in the Winter's run strike was not dropping skeleton keys at the intended rate. Now they also fixed an issue where players were able to access the rooftops on the Skyline map. So this is really interesting because there was actually a way to easy jump on top of the roofs of the map Skyline, and I believe the weekend that we had the map Burning Shrine for trials, it was actually supposed to be Skyline instead, but the Bungie actually found it and discovered a lot of people knew about how to break the game and get on top of the roofs, so last minute they changed the map to what I believe it's Burning Shrine, which made a lot of sense of course, because it would break the entire trials for the weekend, people hiding on top of there and getting revives. It'll be very, very broken, so we basically dodged a really bad weekend for trials because there would have been a lot of exploiters on top of the roofs, so I'm assuming that this week's trials map is probably going to be Skyline, seeing as they fixed it, or they might wait until next weekend to monitor it and make sure there is absolutely no way to get on top of the roofs and exploit the map. So moving through the patch notes, they also fixed an issue where Risevine, Vanguard and Crucible weapons were not decrypting from engrams. They also fixed an issue where a new Monarchy ship was not dropping if you had a dead orbit ship, it would interfere with it. They also fixed an issue with armor decrypting from dusty engrams, dismantling into legendary marks. As said, that's now going to dismantle into 1 silver dust instead. And they also did the silver dust changes. So it's no longer going to cost you any silver dust to apply the ornaments for the Iron Lord gear, the Trials of Osiris gear, or your hard mode raid gear. That's not going to cost silver anymore, and that's now been removed. It just costs the 1 ornament, or the 2 if it's a chest or a helmet. Players are also now going to earn more Siva key fragments at an overall increased rate from the raid. So the first time a raid boss is killed on normal difficulty, they're going to drop 3 Siva key fragments, and then for the second time that week you kill that same boss, he's going to drop 2, and the third time he's going to drop 1. So you can essentially farm the bosses for these fragments, which is really good, because of course you can use these to reroll your raid armor, which is definitely important. There's now a reliable and easy way to get these fragments and farm the bosses, even if you've done it that week, and after the 4th or greater kill, the boss will no longer drop Siva key fragments for that week. The same behavior will also occur in heroic raid bosses. So on top of that, of course, this reset also marks the end of Festival of the Lost. That's now over, and that's probably it for the entire year. I'm assuming the next one might be in Destiny 2 if they even have live events, but there you go. I hope you guys got all the masks and emblems and shadies you wanted. That's basically it for Festival of the Lost. So as you probably know, this Lost Broom was an item available during the event and it would expire at the end of it. So I actually kept this on as my only vehicle and got rid of all my others to see what would happen if they took it away from me and I had no vehicle. So as you can see, the vehicle is still selected, but it says it's expired. And if I actually try and hop on my Sparrow, it actually gives me some random placeholder like common Sparrow, I believe, or maybe a blue one. But either way, some kind of like temporary placeholder Sparrow, which is really interesting they're actually giving you that. But it appears there's no actual way to keep the broom and it might be gone forever. So next up, let's talk about Iron Banner and Lady Aphrodite's incredible new inventory. So as usual, we've got the 2 armor pieces, which are the boots and the chest pieces with 2 different roles, and also the 4 bounties down the bottom, which are going to give you 2 weapons and 2 armor pieces. Now the most important things are these weapons, which are actually god rolls by themselves. They're not completely perfect, there are missing like 1 or 2 perks that make them completely perfect, but these are incredible weapons and probably better than you'd ever find after games or loot drops. So firstly, let's look at the Clever Dragon, which of course is one of the best weapons in the Crucible. You guys have heard me raving about this weapon non-stop for the last month. It's a really fast rate of fire pulse rifle, same as the Grasp of Malok, the exact same rate of fire and impact. So the main thing you want in this is stability, and this roll right here has both stability perks, or 3 even. It's got perfect balance and also brace frame to nearly max out stability, and also counterbalance at the end. The middle perk is definitely where it's lacking. The only way you could improve this weapon would be if it had high caliber. If it had the middle, it would be literally a god roll. You couldn't make a more perfect weapon if you tried. It would have perfect stability and high caliber, which is actually a really, really good perk. But you can still make do without it. This weapon's still going to have really good stability. So my personal Clever Dragons have both perfect balance and also brace frame. I would definitely recommend brace frame. It has a lot more effect on your stability and is definitely the better option here, even if it does reduce the magazine size slightly. We also at the end have counterbalance, which is the best stability affecting perk in the game. It's going to make this thing a laser beam, and it's going to be so lethal. In the middle, like I said, they are the weaker options. Snapshot is going to be really good for aiming the weapon quickly and having some good handling, which is also quite important. The weapon is going to handle really well and be really snappy if you've got this perk equipped. But Cask and Mag isn't a bad choice either. It does take away a little bit of stability, but of course you've got tons of that in the other perks right here. So you can go for Brace Frame, which is going to take away a little bit of the magazine, and then Cask and Mag is basically going to replace that. but in total you can have more stability than you started with. So either Snapshot or Casket Mag are both good options. In terms of scopes, I always go for the Iron Red Dot. The Iron Warrior does actually have the least zoom, it's the most zoomed out scope, but it has a little bit more recoil, so I always prefer the Iron Red Dot. But there you go, that is the Clever Dragon, an absolute monster of a weapon. Now, in terms of the rolls that are going to drop for you this week, the only improvement over this would of course be high caliber rounds. Like I said, that's going to make a massive difference in terms of winning gunfights and making sure they have as much flinch as possible, and also increase the range a little bit. So there you go, that's the Clever Dragon. In terms of the Silver Dread machine gun, it's also pretty much a god roll. I mean, I'm not really much into machine guns, but this one is pretty decent. It's got brace frame to increase stability a lot. That's going to take away the magazine size, which you can of course replace with extended mags, and it's also got counterbalance for the recoil as well. So this thing is really good as well. But there you go, it seems that Iron Banner is back to selling god roll weapons, which is definitely an improvement to last month's Iron Banner, where they were all pretty bad. And now the final thing I want to talk about is actually the Aksis challenge mode, which also went live today on the reset, which of course is the second and final challenge mode. We had Vorsic last week, which got a video on my channel, but this week is Aksis. So what you need to actually do for the challenge is to use all the empowerment pads every time you actually do a damage phase or a stun phase for Aksis himself. So just before the empowered person is about to slam on him, one of the other empowered people who's not about to slam, they need to find the supercharge plates and actually supercharge them just before the slam happens. So if you're one of the 3 empowered people, you get into position normally, one on each side of the map ready to slam on his back. But if you notice that Aksis hasn't teleported to your side, you then look behind you for one of those servitor red platforms, and you supercharge all of your teammates. So essentially, if you're empowered, look for either Aksis to teleport to you. If he's in front of you, then of course you slam him. If he's not, then look behind you, because you might need to activate one of your red glowing platforms. So that's what you need to do. Simply supercharge every single time you're about to slam his back, and you can do it as many phases as you want. It sounds pretty simple in theory, but I'm hearing it's actually pretty difficult. I haven't had a chance to actually hop in myself and give it a try, but my good friend Console actually shared with me his footage of completing the challenge mode, and as you can see, you get the emblem, you also get the ornament, and of course you get a bunch of challenge mode loot on top of your hard and normal loot as well. So there you go, that's everything new and that's happened in Destiny today. Comment down below if you're going to be doing the Aksis challenge mode, or if you're going to be going to Iron Banner yourself. I'd be interested to see what you guys are doing. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, a like rating would be much appreciated. And I'll see you guys in the next one.